Hello, friends. My goodness, I have jeans on and a nice shirt. So I'm really excited to share with you guys today. She's texting me right now. My very good friend, I was about to say old friend, I've known her for about a decade, over a decade, I think, Dana Claudat. If you don't know her, I'm sure you know her, you've seen her around. She is known as Feng Shui Dana on Instagram and before Instagram, on the internet, on blogs and word of mouth. She lives in California. She is amazing, and I love how she shares Feng Shui and home design and really from the inside out, creating your space. So we of course have so much to talk about, her and I, all the time. We get together like slumber party girls and basically have our version of pillow fight, talking about creating space in the inside, space on the outside. And as far as her expertise goes, in my opinion, she is top notch. I don't think that's opinion. She is top notch. She's my favorite. So, I know there's a lot of people that do a lot of really cool things, but if you're interested in having your home feel really good and have it be an expression of yourself and in a very real world way, getting what you want out of life, from an energetic perspective, from a relationship perspective, from a abundance, financial, career, work perspective, she's your gal. And she has loads of resources on her website. She has online courses and books, and she's awesome. So you guys know how anything East Asian made modern, made applicable for our lives, I'm head over heels in love with. So she is really the OG when it comes to this. So she's going to be coming on here in a little bit to chat with us. But just before I let her in, I want to just gush on how amazing she is. You guys have to follow her if you're not already. I'm sure most of you already are. She gives so much inspiration and ideas, super positive, you guys. I think it's really, it's a gem. It's so rare to find someone who's not full of crap when it comes to pretty much everything, but especially in the wellness space. It's such a new space in a way in the last 10 years, but Dana has been following her craft, learning about all the things with Feng Shui and delivering it to people in all of the ways, even before social media existed. So not that new people can't be great as well, but Dana really is an OG that we should all respect, admire, and take inspiration from her advice. So hopefully she's not blushing too much there on the other side of her iPhone, and I'm excited to let you guys in. So feel free to ask her questions. There's already some questions coming in about oil and incense. We can talk about these with Dana. So let me just see if I can do this correctly. I hope so. Here we go, Dana. Waiting. My goodness, I've tried to, think about my environment when I'm having Dana in here as well. Okay, Dana requested, so here we go. It says connecting.
Yay!
Yay!
Perfect.
My goodness, hello.
I can't believe I'm seeing you. It's
Oh my
been
gosh,
so long.
I know. Oh, I miss you so much. You look beautiful, by the way.
Oh, so do you. I've known Tara Stiles forever. Like, I think, 11 years, something like that? Like, before it all started.
Before it all started, right? I know, crazy. Did I meet you through Jason and Colleen, or did we find each other on the internet?
I think I met you through Maston Kip.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah.
We're going OGs, like way back.
Yeah, I remember when I first, those early days when I first knew you, I just remember I wanted to just hold onto your shoulders and ride you around wherever you went and learn everything from you and hang out with you and giggle with you and go to cafes with you and all of that. So first of all, thanks for being my friend. And I know we have other people here in the conversation, so I just get excited to talk to you.
I know. Well, thank you. I love you so much. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you doing all the stuff. I feel like you're one of those pioneers. And I just wanted to say, first of all, this is awesome. I'm so happy you're doing these things. And I've been watching what you're doing with Strala, and oh my God, like I was blown away, guys. If you haven't been watching these sequencing videos, the idea that movement and art and writing and language and life are all connected is epic. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool.
Well,
So
we have the same mind share, and I think on all that stuff. So you guys, Dana and I get together. We're like space, inside space, outside space. Of course, I understand more about, like, for me, I don't understand all of the language that you are just so proficient in, but I just want to know because I have this connection to it from my internal world of yoga and spaceship world of that. So, thanks so much for all of your other expressions of the sameness, which I think is so rad. If something is ringing true in one form, then it usually makes sense in the other forms as well.
it's interesting. And we're going to talk about all this creativity today. And a lot of my students have said, I'm going out into the world and starting to do all this stuff. And I feel like I'm so in the same mind frame as you. I don't know how I could possibly do original work. And I was like, my friend Tara and I talk the same language and we do original work. It's everyone is moving toward this openness. Everyone wants, I feel like more and more people want to have this freedom and expression and not feel like they're in a box or they're a template. That's a big thing in Feng Shui. There's a lot of rules, like yoga's a lot of rules and templates and maps and things. And I'm like, you're not a template and you could totally be original. And you're always the example I give of the fact that you could have similar mindsets and do totally different work and still have it all be awesome. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you think that comes from, because I know, the reason I got into sharing yoga was because of the rigidity that I saw, and it didn't work for me. And, friends I had at the time, it wasn't working for them. So finding a way to let go of the dogma of that. Do you think that exists also in Feng Shui? Is that the rigidity you're talking about, sort of the teacher guru, do this, don't do that kind of a thing?
I get, and this is for everyone who's never seen anything I do, I get hundreds of messages that say help or what do I do? Because in Feng Shui, there are these things where in traditional Feng Shui, if you have something in the wrong corner or your door faces in the wrong direction or you sleep in the wrong direction, you will be sick, you'll die. Like, they're horrible things, like you can't even imagine. So I've spent a lot of time just telling people, no, I promise it's going to be okay. But what happens when you have any negative predictions, and I think that really speaks to this moment because there's a lot of negative predictions in the world about what's happening. When you have a lot of negative predictions and you latch onto them in any way, shape, or form, it takes some time to unravel them. And so I always tell people to go progressively into a little bit more trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, trusting your creativity. You're not going to turn around a belief that you had, even about your bathroom. I had one woman be told that her bathroom, where it was going to bankrupt her business. So she had to cover it in red cloths and put all these statues and things up. And she was just, so one bathroom just sat like that. And after she started doing this work, she was like, I have to say, I feel a little weird about my bathroom being like that. And so very slowly she started to dismantle it. And once it was all done, her business went through the roof, money tripled, all this stuff happened. And I was like, yes, you got you back.
Goosebumps.
So that's what this is about. And that's why I thought creativity would be such a great thing to talk about, because it's all about letting go of what people tell you and allowing yourself to kind of be you. And
I love that. So good. I mean, one kind of thing that we've been sharing with everything we do with Strala actually came from a gal, Heather, who was in one of our training programs. And she walked in one day and she said, you know what? And she was kind of having this emotional moment. She says, I thought I was going to come here and transform and become, a better version of myself. And I've realized that I'm becoming the real version of myself. And for her, that was scarier than, I think for all of us, it's scarier than kind of becoming the more yoga or the more knowledgeable, we're getting better, we're improving, we're putting on more layers. But for her, she really, peeled the onion in a way. And I love that you share that as well, because, maybe there's a hunch out there that the dogma, the rules are, they're meant to be broken and we can follow the forms and the guidelines, but it only works when it feels like us. And I think that's just, I don't know. I love you for saying that. And I love you for sharing that because, you know, when something's new and scary and foreign, you know, like an East Asian art, like you share, then, you know, we automatically kind of stand up and we want to be perfect and, you know, respect the art instead of respecting ourselves. So thank you so much for teaching us what to do with the art of Feng Shui and yourself without feeling like we have to transform who we are.
Definitely don't have to transform who you are or your belief systems or your religion or your anything. This is open to everyone. I've pretty much taken out of Feng Shui everything that creates limits, because I feel like I would be some sort of charlatan, or I would be a horrible person if I went to someone's house or talked to them online or gave them advice or wrote something that limited people's lives. I grew up with all sorts of seemingly imposed limits, and it took me a long time. It felt like 15 years to kind of push them away, and I don't want to do that to anyone ever. So a lot of people say, oh, and I know you've heard this before, it's like, oh, you know, you're not doing Feng Shui right, and that's not supposed to be that way. And I'm like, 100% of my clients have success. So that's all I could tell you. Cool. I don't care if you call it Feng Shui, but this is what we're talking about. And I don't want anyone, all the stuff I'm going to share today, and I have so much stuff. I sent Tara a picture of it. I have all this stuff on a table beside me. All this stuff, you can't get it wrong. You can't do anything weird with it. There's no thing you could screw up and something bad will happen. So we'll start there.
Amazing. Show us the way.
Okay, so I want to do this. This is like a fun, like fireworks type thing to do. So it's a little bit of a thing, but if anyone watching, and I wanted to do stuff everyone can get at a grocery store, because right now we can't really go to our favorite psychic bookstore or wherever else, crystal shops, and you might be able to get things online, but grocery store first. So if you have a little ramekin, and I should have had you bring a ramekin out one too. If you have a little something oven safe, some people use oven safe mugs, some people use anything that can go in the oven, right here. As long as it's oven safe. But once you use it, you can only use it for this. So what we're going to do is start by burning salt, because burning salt creates space. And I know that your whole audience understands creating space. And this is this deep, energetic clearing. So we're all inside. Most of us are inside. It feels like everything is getting, and that grounding feeling is cool. But if you get too much of it, it's like, so I want to get rid of
a little sleepy town over here sometimes.
So the idea is, how do we wake it up and make things so much more clear? And you can do this anytime, not just during this time. This is one of the best ways. This is like sage times 200,000. Wow. So it's really, really cool. It's also really fun to see. The good news is you can make this with 50%. Instagram's telling me I've been on for a half hour. Okay.
Is that your daily limit of even now? Wow, you're so good. You're so good.
No, I just see the limit and I click it off and I keep.
Amazing.
So rubbing alcohol, 50%. You can't find most places 70% or more, because people are making hand sanitizers with it because we need to. So rubbing alcohol, 50% works perfect. You could still get it. You can get it at grocery stores. You can get it pretty much everywhere. So what you're going to do is fill your ramekin almost to the top with salt. I don't care if it's table salt. Table salt makes a huge fire, guys. So I just want to warn you.
Oh, wow.
Table salt is like crazy. Salt, this is plain sea salt. It's not fancy. Don't use your expensive pink salt. And you're going to keep pouring alcohol on it, and it's going to keep going down. And as you go, it's going to be like sand when a wave comes. It's going to keep sinking and sinking and sinking. And then you're going to reach a point where it stops sinking and it makes kind of a puddle on the top, but just a little puddle, not a lot of puddle. Because if it's a lot of puddle, so I don't know if you could see, it's not super wet. And you're not going to hold this when you do it. When you don't do what I'm doing. What you're going to do is, and I'll pick this up and show everyone, I have an old pan. Most people have a burnt pan in their house. I have an old pan that I stick this in with a little water underneath. And you need to just make sure your kids are in another room, your animals are in another room, you're not going to be distracted by a phone call or anything like that, because you can't take your eyes off of this, because you're going to start a fire and then you're going to meditate on the fire.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
So now it's lit. So
wow.
You could throw a match into it. Oh, it's really hot. You could throw a match into it. You could use a barbecue lighter. I've done this so many times. I'm good with just using a lighter straight in it, but it's more dangerous. Okay. Safety first. This is, I told you, it's a fun way to start because this is really glamorous.
That is so cool.
I don't hold it usually. I'm doing this just for you, but I'm going to put it down in this basin of water so that it's really, really safe. And you meditate on it and imagine. So what this does is it clears your energy field, which again removes all that stuckness, and it also clears your whole home. So you can imagine every single thing we interact with is entangled with us. You know that. I mean, all this time you've spent with Rudy Tanzi and Deepak and all these people, it's like we're all entangled with everything. So when all that stuff gets stuck, it gets really hard to take it out. And people burn sage and nothing happens. This is pretty big. This is going to keep burning. I've done this a lot, so I trust myself to just keep an eye on it from the side. Don't take your eyes off it. Meditate on it. Don't go too close because the flames can shoot really high. But this is a great way of going, I need a fresh start. Energetic fresh start for your home. Big, tearing out all the old stuff and putting it into the flames. So I wanted to start there because I thought that was so fun.
How do you put it out at the end, or just does it kind of timber out?
It's going to go out. It's going to, once it burns off all the alcohol, it'll like sputter and go out. I've had people, when you have a lot of heavy energy in your house, and just be warned, it's not a bad thing. It's just a life thing. I've had people have it burn for a half hour, 45 minutes. And when it's usually it's like 10, 15 minutes. When it's done, it's like, whoa, what was that? So this is a really good method of clearing everything. If you don't want to burn stuff, you can put out a bowl of regular sea salt. If you have just bulk regular sea salt, stick it on your desk, stick it anywhere where you feel like you're not happy about being right now, and let it be there for as long as it feels good. And imagine it's just sucking up all the stuff.
This is rad. So is it a little bit insane to have bowls of sea salt everywhere, or is that overkill?
No, some people in Japan,
just asking for a friend.
In Japan it's really common. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's really common in Japan. People have salt by their door because they think it's protection for their house. People have salt all over, and it's just normal. And when you feel like either you feel it's done, like you don't need it anymore, or you feel like you want a refresh, you could dump the salt, take out the trash, and start a new one.
Oh, amazing. So cool. Definitely doing that. We have to go on our, I guess, once a week grocery store trip. We just send Mike now, so I'll send him for some rubbing alcohol. My goodness, I can't wait to do that. Definitely during Daisy's nap time for us, though, because she will want to get involved with that. So that's amazing.
Yeah, this is it's still burning. Like really, you could probably see the flames leaping off of my reflection because it's burning a lot. So all that is to say, if you have sage, if you have stuff like that, that's awesome. But you don't need all these fancy tools in order to make a lot of space at home. And that's going to help you to feel more alive. And that's what we're doing with creativity, right? Like it's all I see you do. Moving energy through your body, moving energy through your space. And it's really simple. So this is just a supercharger.
Quick one. Amazing. Awesome. So that's probably, it sounds like the ground zero for creativity is the salt. So love that. I just did a salty bagel yoga flow on Monday, the biggest energy one. So that makes sense. You get, I'm sure there's probably, now I'm thinking of all the corny relations, but when you sweat, you get salty. So maybe there's something there.
It's a big purifier. Like it's an ancient purifier. People know about taking salt baths, Epsom salt and salt, but it just went out. So when it goes out, that was so dramatic. It just went out, and you could see you just let it cool off, and that's it.
We're clear. Amazing.
Woo.
So
Okay.
what else should we be doing at home? What else should we be lighting on fire?
We're gonna light one more thing on fire. So,
oh my gosh. I love it.
one of the things you can have Mike get these too if you don't have them, but one of the things a lot of people have at home in their spice rack, it comes with a spice rack or in your spices, bay leaves are really, really powerful to relax your space. So that's the other aspect of what's happening now is being really anxious, feeling not just stuck, but the anxiety of being stuck. We have a lot of stuff to contend with right now, obviously. What's really fun, let me see if I can find you a whole bay leaf. Bay leaves are usually, they're just the ones you cook with. Grab yourself bay leaves and you could put a bunch in an ashtray that's fire safe, or you could just do one at a time. I do one at a time. And when you burn bay leaves, they release this actual stuff. So they're like aromatherapy, and they release these properties into the air that are truly calming. Some people say they're even hallucinogenic or psychedelic. I have never had a psychedelic experience burning bay leaves, but whatever.
right? You never know.
So to make this much cooler, one of the ancient practices that people do is you can write a wish on your bay leaf.
Just with a regular pen? Does it need to be a special pen?
Regular pen, pencil. People always say, isn't it dangerous to burn the ink? It's so little ink, I'm not going to worry about it. So you write your wish on it, and then you burn it.
There we go. More fire.
More fire. There's fire everywhere in my house. These have a tendency to go out, so you can keep relighting it, and you can feel after you burn a few, you can see there's sort of smoke coming off of it maybe. It feels so good. It really does calm the space, and it has a big effect for one little thing. I have a video on this, and people are like, whoa, I really feel it. It makes such a difference. It does for me, but I like when it's time tested and when a lot of people have good experiences with it. So for all of you who can't grab your sage wands or all the things you're used to burning, this is eco-friendly from the grocery store. You can get it right now, and it's brilliant.
So you're saying, you know, these two things are better than sage or more powerful than sage? So why has sage got this, you know, who was sage PR agent to get so popular?
Well, look, I have a lot of respect for cultural traditions. So in many cultures, sage is very revered, and sage does have these, it releases negative ions. It has all of these properties. And when used in the rituals, for instance, Native American rituals, things like this, there's a whole lot of intention that goes behind the sage. So it's the intention working with the herbs. Most modern people have been taught, you light the sage, you kind of wave it around, go around your house, go to the corners, maybe you have like a fun shell you carry beneath it or something, and that's it. And it's underwhelming, but it's also, that's one of the things working like with herbs and things like this. I feel like if you're attached to the tradition and you have that strong intention and connection, that's awesome. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I was told I have to use this in order to do that. And so I go and get the thing, and then the thing, and then what happened, the thing didn't work. And there's also a lot, and I don't know if people know this, but it's a big thing that's been on my mind. Palo Santo is largely endangered. The sticks that people burn, it's not easily renewable, and also white sage is sort of in jeopardy as well. So I would rather the people who have this strong spiritual tradition and use this appropriately to have it. And there are a bazillion other things that we can do. I have on my Instagram channel a bunch of videos on IGTV of like rosemary, mint, all sorts of things that you can work with that, again, you can get still at the grocery store or at the farmer's market if you have one open near you. So.
Oh, so good. Go guys. I'm going to go right after this and learn more stuff. I love it. It's really, really good. So we've been culturally appropriating with sage, just like when us white girls who teach yoga try to speak in an Indian accent. So we can be ourselves again, like you said, buy what's local for us and actually respect the tradition that way by respecting, you know, the earth. So very cool.
I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, you know, even using certain words like smudging, all of that is part of a sacred ritual. And so I'm just like, I'm listening. Like this is, it was, and a whole idea, even with crystals, crystals are being mined in a lot of dark ways, kind of like really dark. And there's a whole dark side of this hyper
like
crystal,
the blood diamond market.
Really like really wild stuff. And so if you do a little rooting around, you can find really ethical people who get their crystals and things from places that are good. But ultimately, I'm a big fan of using what you have, because that's what artists have done forever. Since the beginning of time, artists have always triumphed through adversity, and they've always used what they had. That's kind of how art practices evolved, what was available, rather than having to go and find all this stuff to complete them. They said, okay, well, I have this, this, and this. This is what I'm going to make something out of. And so that's how I feel about right now. We're really being called to be resourceful. It's like, what do you have at home? What do you have to cook? What do you have in the pantry? And that's all part of creativity. And I feel like if we can sink into this moment a little bit in terms of being resourceful, it's going to serve us so much when we go back out into the world a lot.
Oh, I love that. I've been thinking about that, but I haven't had a conversation with somebody about that. So it's really inspiring me. You know, I was talking to Mike yesterday. Daisy and I have been doing all this like drawing and hair braiding and stuff. And usually I would think, okay, let's do drawing with Daisy. I'm going to go out to the store and buy all of this stuff that we need to do that. When literally I just looked in our house and found, you know, things we could use for her hair ties, and found old pencils and, you know, random crayons here and there. And we have enough. We have more than enough. And it just made me feel silly for having an idea and then instantly, you know, ordering it from somewhere else, you know, instead of just looking in my closet, you know, seeing what I have. So that's really cool, especially, you know, being Earth Week and everything. I think that's, you know, how we're all sort of thinking too. So, you know, you guys take Dana's words and run with them and be inspired to go in your closet and go in your cupboards and use what you have to do all of these things.
It's amazing how much you find, and it's amazing what you find even in your refrigerator and your pantry, and you're like, oh, I can make something. Oh, I will be okay. We couldn't get grocery deliveries last week, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, oh, I found literally 6 days worth of food through rooting through and figuring out what to do. And I was like, okay, there's a lot more. It's just a reflex, because you're used to saying, I need this, I'm going to go get it. Right. And now it's like, I need this, I need to look inside. And it's a new moon today. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow, cool.
This new moon is all about looking inside and really tapping into your inner resources, which is Strala.
Right. Well, it's cool. I love I'm glad I'm talking to you on this day. It's like synchronicity, as Deepak would say. You know, it's never a coincidence. So very, very cool. So can I ask you one question about color? Yeah. You know, when I look at you, I see the rainbow, and it gets me thinking about color so much. And, you know, you've just given us such good advice, the various apartments and places we've lived in, and, you know, color there, not color there, whatever. So is there anything kind of easy that we could be thinking about with color in the home to help with creativity and not kind of clash and go crazy, or not kind of make it sleepy town?
Yeah, so it's obviously, I don't know how many people are going to be ordering house paint right now. So in terms of doing major color shifts, I like to subtract anything that feels like it's too much, or if it doesn't feel right to you. Your colors are always your best colors. The colors that are pulling you in are the colors you need right now. One of the things that's awesome is that color is energy. And so it's very basic, very simple. If you want to do energy work, put on different color clothes. That's like ground zero. And when you think about like I have your rainbow collections from Reebok from back in the day. Right. And every time I put it on, I'm like wearing a rainbow, and you feel all the energy of it. And so one of the easiest things to do is to go through your closet. You might even want to color code it right now and start picking colors that you feel for the moment. And it might be, sometimes I'm like, I want to be in all gray right now. And sometimes it's red. And so you just keep picking what fuels you, because, hey, you're at home. You could wear whatever you want. You could wear a dress. You could wear pajamas. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Amazing. Cool.
One of the things that you could do for the moon, and everyone can do right now, is moon water.
What?
I told you I have stuff everywhere.
I love it.
You could also do this with color, which is really fun. So right now it's a moon. If you're watching this tomorrow, it's still a moon. So you can grab a jar, and you can do this. Do you have a balcony now in your place?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you have to come over when you can.
I can't wait. You can grab a jar and fill it with water, put it outside, set an intention for whatever it is that you want to see for this cycle. So new moons are for the month ahead, and put it outside, let it sit in this new moon energy. And after a day, 2 days, whenever you feel like it's like tea, whenever you feel like it's ready, bring it inside. And then you can use this again for more activation. So you could use this to clean. You can throw some in water when you're mopping. You could throw some in your laundry to brighten up your clothes.
Oh, wow.
Some people use this to make beauty stuff like toners and things like that. I have in the past kind of poured it over my hair when I'm done with the shower, when I needed like energy really badly. This is awesome. Some people drink it. I don't drink it. I don't know why, but
it's okay. But it's okay to drink it. I mean, it's just water that you put from your filter out there. Okay.
And if it's not a moon, if it's not a special moon, a full moon or a new moon, you can also just imagine a color going into the jar. So any color that you feel like you're really attracted to right now is usually the energy that you need. Wow. So it might be magenta, it might be red, it might be, we have a mutual love of magenta. Yes. Whatever color you feel like you need, and you could use a colored jar if you have it. But again, even if you don't have it, just get a regular clear jar or even a glass. Cover it with something of that color, whether it's a dress you have, a t-shirt, whatever it is. Keep it outside and let the sun infuse, like a tea bag, the color into the water.
Genius.
So that's really fun. And one of the reasons why I share so many of these things is there's always something you can do about everything. Like, I really believe there's never a time where there isn't something you can do. And I know you share that resourcefulness. There's always a way to do something about everything. And so you don't need extra money. You don't need fancy things. You can have a glass and water and clean your house with intention and start to get new ideas. So all the action that you take in your home is like action you're taking inside of you. So your home, and I think this is why this time is especially beyond confronting for people, is not a lot of people spend a lot of time at home. We're on planes, we're running around, we're in our cars, and our home is actually a demonstration of what's been going on the inside. So now that we're kind of grounded inside, you look around and you're like, this isn't me, or wow, this is better than I thought. And so for anyone who's feeling creatively stuck and you see all this stuff on the outside, I just want to put it out there that simple things like house cleaning, whether you use moon water or not, doing all sorts of things that are fun, like rearranging your pillows. You can just like change the way the pillows are laid out. Switch some art on the walls. All the stuff that you're doing, even without any rules, is following how you feel. You will start noticing your inside getting more aligned as well.
I love that. I thought of you. We needed some light in a corner for forever. And again, into this, let's go buy it sometime when we have time mindset thinking. And I just noticed we had an extra lamp in the bedroom that we didn't necessarily need. And I moved it out. And Mike walked into the room one morning and he said, what did you do? It feels so much better in here. So I don't know. I was thinking of Dana. I was thinking, what would Dana do? WWDD. And yeah, so I think it's so nice to have you as a guide for this, because you empower me, and I think you obviously empower so many people to trust themselves, follow your suggestions in your format, but ultimately make a decision that's coming from your inside. And I think it's so hard to be sensitive also to how you actually feel. But, I know for me, with your guidance, little by little, I feel less like I should be doing these things correctly and more like, okay, now I know about moon water and I can put it on my windowsill or on the balcony, and I have the courage to light this thing on fire and it's going to be okay. So just experimenting and seeing what happens. So thanks for that, that confidence boost, which I think it's huge, because, I really do think that, yoga is so intimidating, Feng Shui is so intimidating, and it doesn't need to be, right? And you're that person for me that just, and for so many people, that says, stop making it intimidating, guys. These are some things you can do and make it really simple. So, thank you so much for that.
I've always gotten, you're the person who got me to do yoga again after moving to LA and realizing that yoga was something else here, and it was something I wasn't capable of doing. It was like gymnastics. It was like something acrobatic. I was like,
right. The handstand phase in LA. I think it's still happening probably.
It was really, going into a yoga class here was really intimidating, but you were like, no, you could just do it at home. You could just do this stuff. So I'm always putting on your videos and doing all your stuff. I actually think I'm going to do the 100-hour online training that you have.
Oh my gosh.
Now you have it. And it's so great that you have it, because this is the kind of stuff that brings you back to you. Like you said, like it's all about bringing us back to ourselves. And I know I have, I've been talking to my friends, a lot of people in New York, my family in New Jersey, a lot of people are really getting, this time is really doing a lot to people. And I have a lot of compassion for feeling disconnected, feeling not knowing what to do or what you can do and when is it going to end and all of this uncertainty. But I grew up with so much of those feelings that I've come to see the only certainty is like here. And here and here, like we're the only certainty there is. Even if everything was perfect, we're still all we've got. We're our biggest resource. So you talk so much about efficiency and moving efficiently and really doing things in a way that's really true to you and how it feels good. And I feel like we can all live like that a lot more. And if we did, can you imagine how much less stress and pressure it would be if we weren't trying to be, the person next door who has a Maserati or the person over here who's got this? All of that stuff just got like leveled out right now. And you're just sitting going, what do I really want? And one exercise I'll throw out to everyone that you guys can do, and you can play around with it. I have a video of it and I'll try to share it on my stories again, is to make a digital vision board, because you can't really go out and make a vision board right now, because where are we going to get all these magazines and pastes and boards? But a lot of, I don't know, I think, have your priorities shifted a lot in this time since this has happened?
Oh, embarrassingly, Mike and I talked about a couple of years ago, this is how we wanted to spend our time, doing more things with Daisy, more real connections with people online, less kind of, I don't know what we were doing before, busying ourselves. I do miss our in-person events and being with people, of course, but we'll go to that when that's relevant. But I think that, before this, I was spending a lot of my time, I don't know what I was doing, but it wasn't, I felt fulfilled, in a general sense, but I feel so much more sort of like a gut check about, was I really fulfilled, or more of this, I have to take a look at myself now and be honest what's going on and how do I feel about things. So, it's opened up a whole new way to relate to each other. We were walking the other day, and Daisy and I saw a homeless person, and we always try to give food or some money or whatever, but we actually stopped and talked besides giving food or money, 6 feet away. But Daisy started singing this man a song, and he started talking to her, and we shared our names and our stories a little bit, and it was so much more valuable, I think, for us, not just for him, not like, oh, we did this nice thing for him, he did this nice thing for us, and it was more of a together project than let's just have some sympathy for these people who don't have a nice apartment and a nice family to go home to. So it was really much more of a together exchange. And I know he felt that as well, because we were both talking about goosebumps. So, just those kind of interactions. And you know, I love people in general. I love hanging out with people, but I think it's really an opportunity, I think, that I've been thinking about in a way to relate to people in a much better way. I mean, with you, like I've always wanted to do something like this with you, and it took to this time to kind of figure out and, you know, get on whatever technology is available to do this. And I've been dreaming on an idea of, you know, just any way I can connect with you more about this and have our shared interest, you know, help ourselves and help other people with this. So, you know, I've been kind of kicking myself a lot, thinking, why wasn't I doing the things that I wanted to do before? So, you know, and I know it's sort of, you know, we're in the lucky camp or the grateful camp, or we, you know, our job is just to stay at home, like our family's okay, and you know, we're technically fine. So we have this opportunity to really reflect. And yeah, for me, it's been a big like kick in the pants of what the heck, you know. So.
And I feel like that kick in the pants, and that's so beautiful. And I'm so glad, like I'm hearing all kinds of stories like this where I'm like really like, oh, a lot of people are not wanting what they wanted before. And so it feels even more uncomfortable to think about going back to things after this in the same way. So, and I'll share the video, but it's really simple. If you have like PowerPoint or anything where you can drag in images, the internet is like the ultimate visual aid. Like you have every picture you could ever imagine. But what's more important is to really do the feeling of it first. Like, how do you really want to live after this? How do you really, and not just after this, but in general, what is really, really important? Like a real reprioritization, because ultimately that's what's going to show up in your home. That's what's going to show up in your work. It's going to show up in your relationships. And it starts with really that feeling. And then you can pull together all kinds of images, because the sky's the limit, that really evoke that feeling and make them into a digital vision board. And you can put it as a screensaver on your computer. You can look at it every day and sort of do a little meditation, and you could change it whenever you want. So again, it's really flexible, but I'm really diving into all the things, all the ways from like the OG times, back when there was no fancy stuff available everywhere, where you go, how do I do this? Like, I remember seeing pictures of you with your sewn sign in the park doing free yoga, and you just do it. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
You just do it.
I know it seems like 100 years ago, but I mean, it was a long time ago, but not, you know, not 100 years. So we can go back to 10 years ago and, you know, DIY a little bit more. So I love that. Thank you so much.
I could totally see you back in the park holding a sign when the park's open and everyone can do yoga.
Oh, girl, that's completely the plan. That is so the plan. So that's exactly the first thing that we're headed to do. So you read my mind with that.
That's amazing.
So everybody can find you in all the places we can find you, at Instagram, your website, Instagram TV, your stories. And Dana has, you know, developed a big library, a big catalog of how to do this stuff easy for you guys. So, you know, go to her site. I'll try to link in the stories and everything as well, but, you know, go to her profile. She'll take you to all the right places to do all the things. Is that the right spot, or is there somewhere else?
That is all the things. If anyone wants to, if you want to, you could follow me, DM me questions, leave questions here. I'll check them. If I can answer any, I'll leave you with like a last little energetic thing that you can do.
You. Amazing.
So after you clean your house or do whatever you're doing, you can put cinnamon sticks out in your house, which are like big energy. They're like really expansive energy things to do. You can put one in your wallet too, which is like thought to be a big money thing, like bringing in abundance. But you can also just take cinnamon, ground cinnamon, little tiny bits, not like shaking cinnamon in your corners, but just little tiny pinches of cinnamon in your corners, and just imagine as you're doing it that they wake up, because more of that stuckness gets in your corners, you know, from mopping floors and yoga studios, things wind up in the corners. So clearing out all the corners, opening that energy up. I'm so happy to be able to be here with you. My biggest drive right now is to help people galvanize more of that energy of you can do it. We're all going to get through this, but you can really do it, and you can make things happen, and maybe even something new and bigger and better than you thought before.
Definitely. Oh, you're the best. Well, thank you so much for helping me so much over these years, and you connecting
too.
in this way. I love you so much. And
big virtual
everybody here,
hug.
follow Dana. She's the best. She's amazing. It's all good vibes. There's no BS. She'll never make you feel bad about anything. Only empowered, and just so grateful to have you here. So, what are you up to for the rest of the day? Anything exciting happening?
I am literally teaching all day. So
awesome. Yeah, I'm sure you're super busy right now.
Everyone's at home. So I'm just answering a lot of emails and teaching all day. So I'm excited. I'm so grateful. And anything I could share, if anyone needs help with anything going on, just ask. I'm always looking to make stuff for you guys.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Love you so much. And I'll talk to you super soon.
Yes.